G'day and welcome everyone to this week's podcast. G'day and hello to Shady. How are you this week, Shady?
I'm good. How are you, Luke? How's everything?
I'm very well. Another 3 points have been added to our score, our points. So I'm a little bit better than last week.
Yeah, agreed. And Napoli drew as well. Atalanta drew.
Yep.
So yeah, can't complain. Back in the top four momentarily, but nowhere near from over this. So yeah, 4 finals to go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you said last week that these next 5 matches are our biggest 5 matches of the season. It's a good start, I guess. But this next game to come against Juve is obviously one of the bigger hurdles of it. But before we rush to that, we better speak about the Benevento match quickly. Obviously 2-0, a solid win. I don't think heaps to talk about from the game. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think we looked solid in general. I think we created a lot of chances. We could have done better with some of them, but overall, no, happy. I'll take it.
Yeah. One question I have for you about the game, Shady, is do you think, from my personal point of view, I don't think Tomori had the greatest game. And I think that that's been a theme of the last 2 or 3 matches. Do you think that 28 million euro is worth it? Or do you think that that is starting to become a little bit too much for what he is?
I think, no, possibly worth it. Hold on to Gabbia, though, and hold on to Romagnoli.
Yep.
I think with some consistency, yes. Yeah. Provided we get, fingers crossed, Champions League football, the revenue that comes with that. I would definitely redeem him, obviously Tonali. Just make the most, get a bit of stability in the squad. And I think it's normal that a young player, he's obviously got the potential and the raw talent. So It's just a matter of guidance and coaching. And also, I agree with you in past few games. I mean, even in the Lazio game, he was beaten quite easily. So there's work to be done. But I mean, I think the same could be said about the rest of the team. So yeah, I'm not in favor of like any knee-jerk reactions right now. Let's try and keep a solid core for next year, a bit of stability, and provide that consistency for the whole team and the coach.
Yeah. How would you rate that second goal that we scored?
Theo's goal, yeah, it was good. Loved it.
Yeah, the Kessie step over and yeah,
very nice. Very nice build up to it.
Yeah,
solid goal, and it seemed like you were playing like seamless, confident football, which is what I like, which is what we've been doing for most of the season. And it's almost as if there was like this on-off switch that has been off for a while, and it was just switched on. And I don't know if it was just the players realizing that the heat was on, that, you know what I mean? So, we got to get our stuff together. I don't know. But I mean, generally speaking, I think that was a general theme throughout the game. And I'm glad to see that. And I hope that continues in the next 4 games.
I mean, obviously, Benevento are 18th on the table. But would you kind of put any of that down to Romagnoli coming back into the team?
Perhaps he's played a role. I would put it down to the team realizing as well that, you know what, bloody hell, we can't waste any more time. That's it. We've actually dropped outside the top 4.
Yeah.
And I hope they continue to think of it. I mean, like we were saying, we both said last time, if you're a player, regardless of what the fans think for a moment, let's think about it as players. If I've been putting in, my heart and soul on the pitch for like a year, and I've been top of the league for most of this year, and all of a sudden I realize that, oh no, I'm going to be in Europa the next season, I would give it my absolute all. Then after the season's over, we can have a chat about who was at fault and, why we blew away a potentially attainable Scudetto. That's another story. But for now, let's focus on our objective, which is to get back into the Champions League. Yeah,
absolutely. And I guess narrowing that even further, our objective is to beat Juve this Monday for Melburnians, the 10th of May, 4:45 a.m, nice and early, which we like. Start the week off well, sorry. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this game?
Ooh, it's a tough game. And we haven't beaten them at the the Juventus or Allianz Stadium yet. So I think they're due a beating there. If I were like, I don't know, Maldini or Pioli or something, I'd play the players like some highlights from our big games in Turin. Like, I think the past 3 Scudetti we've won, we've always beaten them at home. I mean, so we had the George Weah with 2-0, I think, in 99, and then in 2004, the 3-1 with the Seedorf double, the brace, and then the 1-0 with the Gattuso goal in 2011. So I'd be playing like highlights of those games to the players just to get them fired up on the bus to the stadium. We need one of those performances, and we can do it if we play our football with that confidence, regardless if we were playing Benevento or Juventus. We've beaten them all this past year. So it's regardless of who the opponent is. If we do our thing, I don't think we'll have a problem. I think we should be fine. Focus on the pitch. 90 minutes, give it your all. Just get it done with. Put this Champions League saga to bed.
Yep. The you saying the name Seedorf kind of brought back a memory into my mind of the early hours on Sunday morning. It was after the match, or not so early hours, I guess, but somewhat early. And I looked at the club Instagram post about the win, and the top comment I saw was from Seedorf. I can't remember what the reaction was, but it was something like the clapping hands emoji or something like that. So obviously he's still pretty invested in the club and keeps an eye on what's going on.
Yeah, he's a legend, isn't he? And I could think that could be said about, that's the effect Milan has on, we've said this heaps of times. Even players have played for a season with Van Bommel, De Jong, anyone who puts on the Milan shirt, he feels like he's part of a family.
Yeah.
So, and Clarence Seedorf was an absolute legend. It was an absolute Milan legend. And so, I mean, I don't think we really rate him, but I think he was underrated, one of the most underrated players in history. So good on the ball, such a good shot, really good vision, amazing player.
Yeah. Going back to the Juve match, I think there's a lot of things that are coming down to this game. I think obviously our Champions League spot on the league table comes down to this. I think Pioli's job, which I mean is kind of tied into that as well. A lot of that hangs on this game. The Donnarumma, Çalhanoğlu contracts, everything is kind of colliding for these few games, and Juventus is arguably the biggest. Are there any players that you want or expect to have huge matches and really need to prove themselves, or that we need to have a big game in this one?
I don't think anyone needs to prove themselves, but I do think that I would imagine Ibrahimovic, after being provoked all weeks Inter won the league, the way Lukaku's been provoking him, I would expect him. I would want him. If I were Pioli or any Milanista out there, I would want Ibrahimovic to go on the pitch and just have like a masterclass.
Yeah.
And show them who's who. I would expect that. I would expect with the return of Romagnoli for him to be hungry, for him to want to prove himself. There have been those people, I mean, us included, we've been talking about his mistakes in the big games. So I think it's time for him for this season. I know it's been a tough season on him, but as captain, I would want him to, have a really good game. Quite a few players. As far as stuff riding on the game, I mean, there's so much to be discussed, but perhaps after the season. This is the business end of the season. 4 games, focus, get the wins, and then we'll have a good chat and we can tear into. There are a few players that we can tear into. There's a few things to be discussed. Definitely, we can have a good chat about everything.
Absolutely. What about the other side of the coin, I guess? Any players from Juventus that you're worried about, apart from the usual suspects, I guess?
Nah, the usual suspects. They're a dangerous team.
Yeah.
Just try to play our game. Don't sit back and wait to get them on the counter or anything like that. That doesn't work with them.
Yeah.
We have to attack, and just take the game to them. But they are a dangerous team. We all know that. They've got some great players. So it's just it's a matter of us just getting ahead and holding on to the lead.
Yeah, we'd love to see a nice early goal. But yeah, because I mean, equally as important is the game for them, because obviously they're in a very similar spot to us. They're on the same points as us, actually. So, I mean, a lot rides on the line for them as well, and probably expectation-wise, I mean, they've already failed in their expectation to win the league. And Pirlo's job, say what you want, but some people say it's already gone. But I mean, it's a very similar situation. So it's not all different to them. So it's a colossal match, I think. And even though we've said it a lot of times this season, I think this genuinely is one of the biggest matches of the season for us. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, I agree that the expectation, they've got a lot of like riding on it too, and it's just an interesting overlap because in a sense this is the end of their cycle, and how quickly they renew their cycle depends. It depends on how they do with signings and whatnot. They could be back in it next year or maybe a bit longer. Who knows? But to an extent, this is the end of their cycle. This is potentially the start of our rise.
Yep.
If we at least make it to the Champions League, we'll start to be on our feet. We'll be in like solid territory again, playing for championships, playing for the European Cup. So it's an interesting point in history, if you will.
Yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully we can get that win and we can keep our, continuing our like ascension. We'll see. Yep. Let's hope for the best.
Predictions?
2-1 win. 2-1 win. 2-1 win.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say 1-0.
I'll take it.
So I'd like just a close match with a just solid goal from Ibrahimovic. I think he's been a little bit frustrated of late, as you said. I think he's more desperate and hungry ever for a goal. So I'd love him to score one at this pivotal stage of the season.
100% agreed.
Looking past this match, obviously we've got 4 to come. So Juve, Torino, Cagliari, and Atalanta. Do you think obviously the aim is to win all 4. What do you think our chances are of that? Do you think it's expected, or do you think we could drop 1 or 2? Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think it's doable. Realistically, I think it's doable. Realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if we drew 1 game, but hopefully we can win 3 out of the 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Ideally 4 out of 4, but I mean,
yeah.
Maybe draw with Atalanta on the last day.
Yeah. I think obviously it doesn't need to be said, but obviously the 2 big ones are Atalanta and Juve, considering they're in that top 4 race with us. We'll hopefully we can win all 4 and get through.
Yeah.
So. Otherwise, the only other thing or question I had for you is Mourinho obviously signed up to Roma. Was that overnight? I think that was this morning, wasn't it?
Who saw that coming? Yeah, this morning. They've been linked to Sarri. All the rumors, all the reports were about Sarri about to sign, and then boom, Mourinho. I thought it was a parody account at first, and I checked.
There was like a cryptic message he put out, that the whole thing of him still willing to manage another Serie A team, and that his loyalties didn't lie with just one. Just before it happened. So maybe, obviously he was kind of alluding to that. The question I have, and you already kind of mentioned it, is with Sarri not going to Roma, do you think if Pioli does lose his job, do you think that there's a chance Sarri will come to Milan?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah. Would you like to see that?
He's got something to prove in Serie A, I guess. Yeah. I mean, if we did lose Pioli and we can't get Allegri, I think so.
Yeah. I think for the moment, the club stick with Pioli and we see how it goes. But at the end of the season, I guess everything has to be considered.
Exactly. We have to evaluate things. There will be questions to be asked, but let's get through this stretch.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll be doing that in a few weeks. It feels like it should be a lot longer away, but in a few weeks we'll be reviewing it all.
Yeah, nearly there.
We're almost there, but hopefully we see a win against Juve this weekend. But
yeah, it's open.
Yeah. Until next time, Shady, Forza Milan, and let's see those predictions come true.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Always good talking. Yeah, please send us your predictions, everyone. And yeah, Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.